Very good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Dan Walker and Louise Minchin.
Our headlines for you this morning. Harry and Meghan's explosive interview with Oprah. The Duchess of Sussex says she experienced suicidal thoughts.
She also revealed that when she was pregnant, questions about the colour of Archie's skin were asked within the royal household.
He won't be given security. He's not going to be given a title. And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
Shocking, powerful and deeply personal. Meghan and Harry reveal their struggles and sadness with royal life.
Also on Breakfast this morning, it's back to school for millions of children in England.
10 years of hurt is over for Rangers. They win the Scottish Premiership with hundreds of fans celebrating outside Ibrox despite COVID safety warnings.
Good morning. Today we've got some rain across the northern half of the country, which will ease through the course of the day. Drier and brighter in the south, but from midweek it looks like the weather is going to turn wild. I'll have more details later in the programme.
Good morning, it's Monday, it's the 8th of March, and the top story for you this morning is that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have accused the royal family of failing to protect them, even when Meghan was suffering from suicidal thoughts and Harry was what he called a dark place.
In an interview broadcast on US television, the couple revealed intimate details of their rift, including a claim that one member of the royal household had expressed concern to Harry about how dark his children would be. Our royal correspondent Daniela Relf has this report.
The Duchess of Sussex didn't hold back. She described a royal life of loneliness and isolation that left her in the darkest of places.
So were you thinking of harming yourself? Were you having suicidal thoughts?
Yes, this was very, very clear.
Wow.
Very clear and very scary. And, you know, I didn't know who to even turn to in that. These are the thoughts that I'm having in the middle of the night that are very clear.
Clarification.
And I'm scared because this is very real. This isn't some abstract idea. This is methodical, and this is not who I am.
Meghan described feeling unsupported by what she called the institution.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
She talked about this charity event in January 2019. She said just before leaving, she told her husband that she'd thought about taking her own life. She describes how the glamour on the outside hid the pain on the inside.
Wait, listen, did you hear that?
The interview was personal, revealing, and at times shocking. She told Oprah Winfrey that her son Archie's mixed race heritage was an issue, that when pregnant, someone within the palace questioned how her child would look.
There, see?
In those months when I was pregnant, all around this same time, so we have in tandem the conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title, and also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What? And you're not going to tell me who had the conversation?
I think that would be very damaging to them.
The interview highlighted strained relations within the royal family. Meghan said media reports claiming she'd made her sister-in-law, the Duchess of Cambridge, cry were false. In fact, it was the other way round, she said, and Kate had apologised. When Harry joined the conversation with Oprah, he described how he felt both his brother and father were trapped within the royal family. Of William, he said their relationship now needed space and he hoped it would heal. And he revealed a rift with his father.
There's a lot to work through there. You know, I feel really let down because he's been through something similar. He knows what pain feels like, and Archie's his grandson. But at the same time, you know, of course, I will always love him. But there's a lot of hurt that's happened.
There were lighter moments too. The new baby is a girl due in the summer, and life in California has brought the couple peace. This is, of course, one side of the story. But the interview is deeply critical of the royal family and its staff. It was a portrait of an institution unable or unwilling to help those struggling within it. Daniela Ralph, BBC News.
Well, Daniela is outside Buckingham Palace for us this morning. Good to talk to you. Give us a bit of context, I suppose, first thing, Daniela, this morning. Just how extraordinary is this interview?
I think it's pretty extraordinary, to be honest, and there is just so much to unpick in it, isn't there? We'd had those trailers last week, those little teasers of what might be coming. So I think we were expecting something pretty dramatic, but I think the interview went beyond that, perhaps particularly around Meghan discussing very personally how she felt mentally during her time within the royal family here in the UK, saying that at times she considered taking her own life. Things became really desperate for her. She described going to try and get help from officials within the royal household, but they basically told her, we just have to be put up with it. Everyone's been through it. That's just the life we have here. And that she wasn't offered the help that she wanted. She just couldn't cope any longer. And that was the point that basically her and Harry broke and felt they had to leave the UK. So that kind of detail and that kind of insight into what was going on behind the palace walls was, shocking, heartbreaking at times, and really insightful in terms of what was going on.
And you mentioned in your piece there that it was only obviously one side of the story we've heard in that interview. How do we expect the palace, if at all, to respond?
Well, I think there is a chance that they will say something, but perhaps not just yet. They're clearly going to have to digest what they've heard overnight. Some of the staff within the palace will, of course, stayed up to have watched the interview. Other members of the royal family will perhaps be waiting until this morning to be briefed and to watch elements of the interview. And they will then all have to consider whether they want to say anything. But the accusations directed at them are very clear, particularly around what support was given to Meghan and Harry when they began to feel isolated, when they began to struggle. Why was nobody there to help them?
Daniela Ralph, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning. We'll be picking up with you again later in the programme. Thank you.
Well, this interview went out overnight. I think it started at 1 a.m. our time. Of course, prime time for America. Our North America correspondent Peter Bowes is in Los Angeles. And Peter, I imagine this will have been watched by so many people. And what's been the reaction there?
You're right, Louise. Millions of Americans will have been watching this, and there's been a very swift reaction, and a lot of that reaction focusing on the claims made about racism. It's something that the American newspapers are picking up on. The Los Angeles Times talks about the moment it says everyone in the world had been waiting for, except it says perhaps the press office at Buckingham Palace, and its headline focuses on the concerns that Meghan and Harry say the palace raised about the skin colour of their child. We've heard from Serena Williams, friend of Meghan Markle. She says on Twitter, Meghan Markle, my selfless friend, lives her life and leads by example with empathy and compassion. She teaches me every day what it means to be truly noble. Her words illustrate the pain and cruelty she has experienced. Also heard from Bernice King. She's the youngest child of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. She tweeted, royalty is not a shield from the devastation and despair of racism. And I think what we're seeing here is really quite a visceral reaction to those claims that Meghan Markle made, and perhaps quite the opposite to the fairy tale image that some people in America might have had about what it would be like for Meghan Markle to marry into the royal family.
Peter, thank you very much. And throughout the morning here on Breakfast, we'll bring you analysis, reaction as well to the interview throughout the programme from royal commentators both here, also in the US as well.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.